Last time on Out Chasing Stars, we set sail from the island of Borneo to Belitung. Along the way, we ran into the familiar fishing boat traffic we'd seen in Indonesia and the unfamiliar sight of waterspouts. Fortunately, we escaped unscathed, and once we arrived in Belitung, we did some work, had some fun, and then set off again towards a moment all sailors dream of. Okay, well, since you're in a dancing mood, are we getting ready to bust a move? You are already busting a move.
Bust a move. You want it? Totally different songs now. Yeah. So we're in Belitung right now, and we've been here for 4 nights, I think, which is not nearly long enough because it is really beautiful here. We got fuel. I paddleboarded every morning because it's so calm. Every afternoon it pours rain because we're in monsoon season now. But this is one of the more beautiful stops we've been to, so we're sad to be leaving it, but we are moving to the equator now! Yay!
Which is exciting, but we're already shellbacks, but
yes,
we've got some friends who are pollywogs.
So our friends on Mirny from the YouTube channel 22 South, they're pollywogs, and we are shellbacks, so that means we get to do a little...
A party? Is that what, that's what they're calling it?
Yeah, okay, a party. Sure, a party. Uh-huh. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Yeah. Now, time to kick the tires and light the fires.
Get the anchor up, huh?
Yep.
Alright, well, let's do this thing. We made plans with Carlos and Linda from Mirny to meet at an island just south of the equator called Conca Besar. They took off from Belitung a bit earlier than we did, so we quickly got to work, reeling them in. Looks like we're off to the races already, huh?
Yeah. Kind of, comes and goes a little bit. But right now we have a true wind speed of 14 knots. And that's an apparent wind speed of about 10 knots at 120 degrees to starboard. We're going 7 knots.
Well, that's better than I was hoping.
Speed over ground, we've got almost a knot of current against us. So we're actually doing 8 through the water.
Well, that's really impressive. Good thing we cleaned the bottom in Belitung, huh?
Yeah, we have a clean bottom, so that helps a lot.
Yeah, it does. That is the AS Columbia. The traffic jam starting a little early on this trip. He was coming pretty close to our stern, within a couple hundred feet, so hailed him. Nice enough to turn a little bit. A little more space between us now. As seems to be the norm in this part of Indonesia, there was quite a bit of traffic on the water, but it wasn't long before a familiar boat kept getting larger and larger on the horizon. Looks like we have officially reeled in Carlos and Linda over on Mirny. I think they had about a 10-mile head start on us by the time we ended up leaving this morning, and we've been out here for just about 8 hours, so it's not too bad. It's not really a fair fight because Mirny is a 40-foot mono, and we've got the big head sail out, so it seems like they've got a few disadvantages, shall we say. But we've been keeping in contact with them on VHF because we are both boats headed to the exact same place. So it's been kind of nice having someone to chat with out here. Make sure everyone's doing okay. Say, hey, there's a radar contact coming up. Watch out for the tugboat coming at you. You know, those sort of things are always a little bit nice and helpful. And we're actually both sailing pretty well still. I'm kind of amazed. The weather forecast was for that this would be almost dead by now. But we're still getting true wind speeds up in the teens, so this is one time I'm quite happy the forecast is wrong. Just hoping it holds out for a while. The weather decided to be nice. As an added bonus, we soon heard the telltale sound of a fish on the line.
We've got a fish!
Yeah, fish time, baby!
Oh, I see it!
Yeah, it looks like it's probably big enough to keep.
Good!
Stay on the surface!
caught a fish finally, huh?
We did. He was actually dead before I even got the knife here.
Yeah, that hook was pretty well embedded.
Which, I don't know how that happens. Like, how did he get it through the eye instead of through the mouth? Like, it's not anywhere near his mouth. It's not through his mouth. What happened?
So we were probably jerks. This dude's just swimming along, and all of a sudden this hook's like, yoink! And he's like, what the hell's happening to me?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, sorry, buddy, but we'll appreciate you.
We will enjoy the food.
Looking pretty well done there, babe.
Yeah, I think I did a pretty good job.
You're not too far out of practice, huh?
Well, let's see. The last fish we caught was like 2 months ago, coming into Indonesia.
Yeah, so that's not a whole lot recently.
Not too bad. I'm pleased. We have two nice big fillets, and what a better way to celebrate crossing the equator than a little gift from Neptune.
That is true. Neptune, we always appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Fish. We will enjoy. Some shark's gonna enjoy that.
So what do you got cooking up for us tonight?
We're gonna have some blackened fish.
Yeah, that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, so usually when we cook a tuna, we eat it raw because that's my favorite way. So it's been a while since I've actually cooked some fresh fish, so... And
what?
I don't know. I'm not sure how successful this would be because last time we caught a mackerel. It's just okay.
So I'll let you do the taste test first, is what I'm hearing?
Fine, I'll be the guinea pig. Ooh, look at that. So pretty.
That smells pretty damn good.
Smell-o-vision. Smells like blackened fish. Go find your own, people.
What a shock, huh?
Let's see how I did. Pretty good there. A little for you, a little for me. I'll get the accoutrements and then we're ready to have some dinner.
I like the sound of accoutrements. Sounds so cultured over there. Oh dear Lord.
I know. You guys love me, right?
What's the verdict there, babe?
It's good. It's not my favorite fish. It's a very thick, firm white flesh, and I like the lighter, flakier stuff. Or the buttery stuff, like the groupers. But I would do it again. The blackened is good. I should have used more seasoning, but now I know.
Lessons for next time was you need to catch more fish?
Yeah, this was only a quarter of the fish, so the other quarter I'll cook tomorrow, and I might try beer battering. And then the other half is in the freezer, and we're gonna save it for our equator crossing party with Mirny.
It's true, because we are the shellbacks in this equation, so we gotta do something good.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they do for their talent show.
Serious discussion times, what we're gonna make them do, huh?
Yes. A little light hazing.
The fish marked the end of double-digit wind speeds, but Starry Horizons wasn't quite done sailing yet.
We had a pretty good night last night. Amy was able to sail for the entirety of her watch, and I was absolutely amazed that I was able to sail for a couple hours even after she went to bed. The wind did die out a little bit around 4 a.m., so we had to motor for a couple hours, but a huge gift from Neptune as we approach the equator. We've got 8 knots of true wind speed right now. Amazing! So we actually have the sails back up this morning. We're sailing flying along at about 4 knots or so, but I will certainly take it. We only need to be doing about 4 knots to arrive during daylight tomorrow, and we'll actually probably have to slow down at some point, but I sail as long as we possibly can, especially because there was no way I thought we'd be sailing this long. So it's kind of nice, and we've got a nice little present of a curious fisherman hanging out over on our port side, coming in, checking us out, but you know, we just wave off in the distance and they seem to just go along their merry way.
I'm certainly not the world's best tactician, but I'm pretty proud of how I set up our route for this passage. Somehow, I managed to maximize the efficiency of our wind angles.
You can tell we are definitely getting close to the equator. The winds are very, very light out here. We had been bobbing along for a few hours with true wind speeds between 4 and 5 knots. Still sailing, just kind of between 2 and 3 knots, so not really going too fast. We have been trying to keep the wind just forward of the beam, so we can take advantage of some apparent wind, which is paying off now. The wind has shifted even a bit more, so sailing at the waypoint we're headed, we've actually got an apparent wind angle of about 70 degrees. So true wind speed is between 6 and 7 knots at the moment. Sailing between 4 and 5. That ain't too bad. So we'll be right on schedule, using less diesel than I was hoping, so or planning on, I should say. So that's pretty awesome. Now the waters are very, very flat. It is kind of tempting to like jump in and go for a swim, but I don't know, that just kind of makes me nervous. So I think we might pass on that and just keep sailing. One thing that is very difficult to come out on video over out here is just how bloody hot it is, with the sun just beating down. We're about 50 miles from the equator, not a whole lot of wind. It's just like sitting here in the shade and I am just sweating like crazy. It does not feel particularly great. It doesn't give a whole lot of motivation either. So, you know, in an ideal world, I would love to be working on like another YouTube video or something like that, but it's just hard to find the energy for that sort of thing, other than just kind of keeping watch and everything. So I'm going to look forward to finishing this passage, maybe having a little air conditioning to cool down. It seems kind of like a nice little treat, and I'll just sit here for a while kind of dreaming about that.
Our salon regularly heats up to over 95 degrees in this kind of intense sun, and with hardly any wind, being outside isn't any better. It makes us look forward to sunset even more than normal.
It feels so much cooler with the sun going down. Just temperatures dropping, feels much more bearable. I can definitely handle this. And the moon's coming out, which is kind of cool. We do have a few fishing boats that are heading towards us at the moment. Again, just kind of always seems to be the case. But I have to say, I am absolutely amazed at how well we've been sailing on this trip. I was fully anticipating that we were going to be motoring like 100+ miles with the wind being dead, but we've been sailing like all except for 4 hours or so, and that's amazing. Neptune, I think, is looking out for us.
We're not sailing so bad, actually.
No, we're really not, huh?
Yeah, we have 5-6 knots of wind speed, apparent wind speed. And the wind angle is 85 degrees right now, and we are sailing 4 knots, speed over ground. 4.5 knots.
Pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah, and the wind was actually higher angled than that, and we were sailing almost wind speed, which was very weird. Like, it was a 60-degree angle, we couldn't turn up anymore, almost wind speed.
Couldn't turn up because the screecher wouldn't take it.
Right, the screecher shouldn't go higher than 60 degrees to apparent wind. But now the wind has backed off, so it's 85, 90 degrees, but we're going 5 knots speed of ground now and 6.9 knots of wind.
Not too shabby, I'd say.
I mean, this whole passage, we were like, if there's any shot of wind, it's going to be today, so let's go. And surprisingly, we've sailed a lot.
Well, granted, there hasn't been a whole lot of wind. It's just been from the exact right angle that we've been able to sail.
Yeah, on the 90 degrees on the beam,
yeah.
We get the screecher out. If it's less than 15 knots of apparent wind speed, then the screecher's perfect, because then we just like really pick up speed.
Works pretty well. And we just had a couple visitors, didn't we?
The cutest little swallows. Oh,
I think they were looking for a little dinner or something.
Yeah, they were really flying close to us, and then they sat on the rail. And they're super cute. I don't know where they are now, but...
Well, they're probably going checking out if there's any scraps from that fishing boat that just passed ridiculously close to us.
Yeah, it did pass really close. Like the big cargo ship things, like a mile is close, but that guy was like...
I could have thrown a football and nailed him.
We could have hit him with something. But he actually has his proper lights on, which is amazing, because most of the time here in Indonesia, they have no lights or like this flashing light that is like random colors and gives you just no information whatsoever.
Yeah, so hey, thanks for having lights, not so much for passing close though.
Yeah, they're not worried about getting too close, basically.
I guess not. Time to do at least one night watch video on this trip. We are about 10 miles away from the island at this point. It is still middle of the night. Have two-pronged philosophy here. One, don't arrive in the middle of the night, and two, stay away from the islands because of all the fads. So we have pretty much dropped all the sails, screechers rolled in, mainsails dropped, just a bit of Genoa's pulled out. So we are just kind of bobbing along at about 1 to 2 knots, and that's fine. We're close enough. The wind is dying even further. True wind speed's down to about 4 knots or so. So we'll just kind of float out here for a little while. When the sun comes up, fire up an engine, motor on the last little way. Last sunrise at sea time. It looks like it's gonna be a pretty good one out there. The wind has dropped and died. It's like 1 to 2 knots true wind speed right now. So Genoa's rolled in, literally just bobbing out here. Feels kind of weird just in the middle of the ocean, but it's working. So I'm gonna let the light come up just a little bit more, and then we're gonna fire an engine, make the last little trek on into the island. I always love the last sunrise of a passage. It's a definitive sign we're almost at our destination and gives me a chance to be thankful for having safely come this far. Since we'd arrived at the island so early in the morning, I got to do something that showed just how much my skills have improved since we set off from France all those years ago. We've got anchor down in Conca Besar, is I believe the name of this island. And I have to admit, I'm kind of proud of myself this morning because Amy was downstairs sleeping. I anchored Starry Horizons by myself for the first time ever. It worked out pretty well, actually. We've got the chain control here at the helm, so I went up, got the anchor already, came back here, dropped as much chain as I wanted, went up, added the bridle, came back down. Nice and pretty easy. Now, I'm sure getting the anchor up by myself on this boat would be a whole different story, but one step at a time, I suppose. And now we get to just wait for our friends on Myrni to arrive, and then it's time for some equator crossing ceremonies. It's a huge deal to cross the equator for the first time, and Amy and I wanted to make sure we made this a moment Carlos and Linda would never forget. Hey y'all, thank you very much for watching our Passage Towards the Equator video. You know, every once in a while it's kind of nice. Starry Horizons just gives us a bit of a reminder how much she enjoys spreading those wings and sailing on. And the light air performance was pretty impressive. I'm gonna say Starry Horizons did pretty damn well. And we are so excited to share our next video with you guys. Crossing the equator is just always a special moment, and we had a pretty amazing time with Carlos and Linda. So really looking forward to sharing that. Thanks for watching. Stick around, see you the next one. We'll see y'all later.